Thank you all for coming to the Friday, February 16th press conference. We will begin with questions.
Coach, quick turnaround this morning. I know you guys had a really good win last night. Talk a little bit about the chemistry the team is starting to develop, and particularly that second half defense looked really good.
No, you're right. They got on fire. They got red hot on from the 3-point line the end of that first half, and knocking down all those threes, which kind of cut into that lead. Which the guys did a really good job to get it to that point. Then we had to obviously really address it at halftime to get after a couple of them guys that can really blaze away from the three, which as a team that's what they do a very good job of. But the second half defense was fantastic. I thought Isaiah and Jackson, their intent to get into their guys in that second half, put them under a lot of pressure, and they couldn't really get a lot of clean looks. And ultimately, what we talk about is, if they can really get penetration into the lane and kick it out to shooters, then they're pretty good. So, the chemistry's growing, and it is difficult when you bring guys in from all around the country as college basketball is these days, and integrate them into the team, and it changes the roles of the guys that are here, and you don't have a lot of time to sort that stuff out. So you kind of have to really build on the go and learn some tough lessons and talk about some things and have some fairly heated emotional conversations about nope, this is the way it's going to be, and this is what you need to do, and we've had to work through that. Definitely proud of the guys that they've been able to be receptive to that. And I'm big about behaviors, I care what you say to me, but I care more about what you actually do and how you behave in situations and dealing with success and failure and everything in between. And show us. That's what's really important to this program.
Coach, I look at the box score from last night. I see the plus minus is Isaiah's a 13 or a 15, and so is Jackson. How do you use that, and is that good and reflective of how they're playing on the floor?
That number obviously represents when you are on the floor, are you a positive or a negative? It's pretty simple, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. And, as I said, Isaiah's and Jackson's, just their intent and physicality and just want to, Zay takes a lot of pride in guarding people one-on-one. He's always been that, and he's a massive part of our program. I put him under a lot of pressure to be really, really good every day, and it's difficult to do. But I'm still going to kick his ass to do it. That's just what's going to happen because that's his role for us. Jackson's been part of this program for a long time, and he totally understands what this program's about when it comes to that end of the floor and the discipline it takes to do the little things at a really high level, and that takes a lot of toughness to do that. Same with Zay and growing in that space, and those two were special last night, and they're going to have to bring it again on Sunday and for the rest of the year. It's definitely a big role for those two and what we do, and Zay's got his way to impact the game offensively, and Jackson's different at the other end, but they need to do that too, just like every guy.
Zay, when coach is being tough on you, what's going through your mind, and just take us on the floor with you what you're thinking about.
When he's like getting on me
Yes,
during
sir.
the game, just try to just listen to what he's saying. Like sometimes I could come off a bit like emotional, like during the intensity of the game, but just taking what he's saying and just applying it during the game.
And Zay, you're playing with a number of different combinations of player. Talks about how you work into that and how different it may be with different groups of players on the floor.
I say for me, just just being myself, just playing hard, playing defense, giving the guys energy so that we can get stops and just make sure I take care of the ball on the offensive end.
I'll ask this as a little bit of a loaded question. But I know you're on YouTube a couple places with some highlight dunks. Where do those come from? Are you practicing those, or those just happen?
It kind of just happens most of the time.
No, he practices them all the time.
It kind of just happens most of the time. I get them when I don't be thinking about it, and I just jump and just do something. But when I think about it, like most of the time, it don't happen.
Coach, Igor and a couple of you, Deshaun, are really rebounding the basketball well. Talk a little bit about that and what that means to your team.
I'm not sure that happened great last night, but no, they have been. And I mean, good teams that have success at the end of the year got to be able to defend and rebound. And if you don't do that, if you don't do those things in this game, you typically don't, win the games when you need to. But we work pretty hard on that every day and blocking out and the physicality required to do that, because it's not a real pleasant thing to do, to really go hit somebody and keep them off the glass. And typically it's just, well, I'm going to be tougher on the block out, or the guy pursuing the offensive rebound is going to be tougher in that space. So those two obviously a huge part of what we need to do at that end of the floor to rebound and the offensive end. But these guards too, they got to keep guys off the perimeter and just not stand around and think the bigs are going to go get it. So both DJ and Igor have done a pretty good job in that space and need to keep doing that.
Coach, you're hitting kind of the home stretch in the regular season. What are your goals down the stretch?
To have a great practice today. That's pretty much how I operate. It'll be a lighter day today, but there'll be a lot of mental stuff that the higher minute guys will have to deal with, and the guys that had lesser minutes, we'll get after them a little bit more and try and keep them as sharp, because at some point you're going to need them. And then just prepare for Sunday. We don't get much further ahead than that. I don't want to get ahead that way, that everyone outside of our huddle can talk about all that type of stuff. We're not. It's too unknown, and it's too distracting. If you're, I need this to happen, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. I don't want them to think that way. I want them to think about today and being really sharp today. And it's going to take a lot of recovery and mental and physical recovery to get ready for Sunday. And then we're going to turn around and play again on Wednesday. And then, the game after that, we've got these short weeks here to prepare for these games. And I think if we can stay in the moment that way, then we can slowly keep growing on a number of things that we've got to keep getting better at, and just sharpening up the stuff that we do really well.
Coach, the challenges for your opponent on Sunday, what are those this week?
Well, they got really good size. They've got a number of high-level transfers that have gone into that program, and when you're putting a team together like that, it's going to take some time to get your chemistry right and sort out roles and so on and so forth. So I would assume that those teams get better as the year goes on, if they're willing to buy into that type of stuff. But we've played the bottom two teams of the league the last two games, and it feels like you're playing the top teams of the league. That's how hard they play, and they're really well coached. And it's actually been very inspiring to me to see the amount of pride that they have played with at this stage of the year. It's difficult. It's difficult when you're in those situations, and just to stay locked in and have a growth mindset and try and get better every day and play really hard every game. And, Temple and UTSA have done that. And we'll get the same thing on Sunday. We're going to have to be really good. There's no doubt about that. And we're all positioning for something, and wanting to finish the year strong and max out what the potential of for us, in our case, is, max out the potential of this team and whatever that may be. And, the guys have been very good with that.
Isaiah, obviously this week, Coach was named the permanent head coach, and it was mentioned at a press conference that it was an off day for you guys when it happened, and called that, believe it was a 1:30 meeting, and a lot of the guys thought they might be in trouble, or you guys didn't know what was going on. Just kind of just take us into that moment in the locker room when the news was broke to the team, and kind of what coaches meant to you and kind of just to the team in general this season.
When the meeting was scheduled, everybody definitely thought like we was getting in trouble. We was definitely texting in the chats like, "What is this about?" But once I seen like everybody standing outside, I kind of already like figured what was gonna happen. But during the moment, like it was definitely a special moment like for the team because we all vouched for him to be our coach, and we didn't want nobody else to be our coach. So being able to get that done and him getting the head coach means a lot to us.
Coach, and for Zay as well, with just 6 games remaining in the regular season, how would you grade the team, and then for you, Zay, just your personal like fatigue and conditioning level? Is there any concern down the stretch?
I don't think so. I feel like my body feels great, and I can't really speak for other guys, but I think we're good. I don't think we get really fatigued that much.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely spend a lot of time talking about the intensity of each practice session and how long those sessions should be, and who should have a lighter day, and who needs a tougher day, and who needs a day off. Do we all need a day off? Like, I'm very and this is probably just my background in Australia, because we get into the science of it a lot there, making sure that our guys are, and it's a science. There's no doubt about it. It's you can't go a period of time and just do nothing and then think they're going to walk out there and play with this unbelievable intensity. So it's that real fine line between the intensity of a session versus the length of that session. So I've really tried to, be pretty sharp with that. I know I can be better there with that. I think the last couple of weeks have been some long days, because I do want them to go out there on game night and give their unbelievably best effort and not feel fatigued. Look, at this time of the year, there's going to be some bumps and bruises, and guys are going to be nursing through things for sure. But that's the toughness that's required when you're an athlete, and it gets tougher when you get older, because as we get older, we feel everything, and these guys think that they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, but as you get older, it's not the case. So just trying to educate them on that, and when we do, come into these sessions, that we're getting after it at a really high level, but for a short period of time.
Zay, Coach talked about this, all throughout the run. We're 10-1 in our last 11 games, and the reason for it, he would say, is the increased physicality, the aggressiveness. Another thing that factors into it is you've started those last 11 games as well. So for you personally, what do you bring to the table in the expectation? I know you talk about like defensive intensity and stuff like that. Is that pressure for you, or is that something that's innate?
I don't think it's really no pressure, because I know what I gotta go in there and do, and I've been doing that, like you said, my whole career. So I think just the changes over the last 11 games just been like the physicality, like from the jump, being able to guard the best player and frustrate him from the jump is different from coming off the bench and guarding him for like 5 minutes, and then he gets comfortable. So I feel like that's a big difference, being able to start and guard the best player.
My last question would be, of course, Sunday is a nationally televised game. It's at noon. Number one, are you a morning person?
It depends what type
Are
of morning
any
it
of
is.
them?
It depends what type of day it is. But
Will you be a morning person on Sunday?
yeah, for game day, yeah.
Okay. And do you jump higher when it's nationally televised?
I think so. Probably, I don't know. I think so.
All right. That concludes today's press conference.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.